Hi everyone, welcome to this Google Digital Garage training session on answering questions with data. My name is Benedict. I'm a trainer for Google's free skills training program, Google Digital Garage. Just a bit about myself. I'm an experienced coding specialist and a digital skills trainer, as well as having a background in the digital creative industry, and I've worked in the sector for over 20 years. I would also like to introduce our amazing moderator, Tessa. Tessa is also a Google Digital Garage coach and will be interacting with you and answering just about all your questions via the instant chat. You can identify the moderator by her name, Tessa, as well as a little blue spanner next to her name. Okay, now just before we get started, I just want to go through a couple of different things. Okay. Let's get started on them. Firstly, if you are having any trouble at all viewing the webinar, please do try refreshing your page at any stage. If you would like to join the instant chat, please do. It's a great opportunity to interact with us and everything. You do need, though, a YouTube account, which you can very easily set up by clicking in the box on the right you'll see there. Okay. So, and fire away with all your questions. It's a great opportunity. So ask particular questions, obviously, with the analytics, and we're here to help you and assist you. So, just to let you know, we are running this Google Digital Garage virtual training as part of a broader offering of courses. If you would like to check out our schedule of upcoming webinar training, please see information on this in the description below, which links you through to our website. Okay. So that is the housekeeping done. Let us get started on answering questions with data. And actually, before I get started, let me just welcome some of the people here who are attending, because I see we have got Araminel in Leeds. Welcome. I think it's Erning Campus Tamil from India. Welcome. Is it Seun or Sean? From Johannesburg, South Africa, welcome. I actually come from Cape Town, South Africa. Neriman, welcome from London. And Cedric from the Philippines. Excellent. Brian as well from the Isle of Wight. This is great. Philip as well. Welcome here. And Kaison from Malaysia. Sorry if I've missed out any of you. It's great to see all of you here. I mean, obviously I can't see you, but it's great to have all of you here taking part. Great opportunity. So do, take part here and interact and ask all the questions you want. There will be questions and answer sections. There'll be time when I will be looking at some of the different questions, and Tessa will kindly pass on them across to me, which is wonderful. Okay, so let us get started today. First of all, the first thing you need to think about is you've got to understand the really important questions to ask about your online activity, yeah? And then understand how we can actually make sense of online data to address these questions, and then understand how to use analytics data to understand what it is, what it tells us about our business. All right, so those three particular areas is particularly getting that cycle going, because often a lot of people get started, they see it, it's looking good or whatever it's looking, but then they don't go any further. But you kind of need to set your, for example, SMART goals around it so you can follow and you can analyze the data and come to conclusions and all that kind of side. I'll be covering as much as I can in this session today to try and help you. So what are the right questions to ask? What are you really trying to achieve? What are you wanting to achieve for your business? What questions do you need to answer to help you achieve that particular goal? And which reports can actually help you find the answers that you need? And what are your next steps as a result of all of those things, following all of those in sequence, okay? So let's have a look. Now, before we get started on all of these different sections that we're going to be working through, let me just bring your attention to this great opportunity. There's free one-to-one mentoring, which is available from Google with one of us, could be Tessa, could be myself, could be one of my colleagues. We are here to help you and assist you. And it's a great opportunity, if you, with your particular digital skills, whether it's building a strategy or to finding more customers online, you can sign up and book a session at g.co/UK mentoring. I'm afraid at the moment it's only for the United Kingdom. Hopefully, eventually, this is going to expand. But at present, we're just starting with the UK. If all goes well, eventually, hopefully, this will expand. So it's a great opportunity. So if you are in the United Kingdom, if you work for a small company, if you own a small company, if you work for a charity or something like that, it's a great opportunity to take advantage of this. We're here to help you, and it's totally free. This is the most important thing. Okay, so asking the right questions. Let us now get started with this, all right? So in this next section, we are going to look at the most important questions you should be asking and answering using data about your business, and in particular, about how it is doing online. I'm aware that a lot of you call it data. I call it data. I have to be individual here. So let's have a look at this now. So I'm going to be introducing with you an overarching 4-step framework of getting answers from data, okay? Now, getting the right answers involves asking the right questions, of course, very, very important. So this is our overarching framework. It is a framework for thinking about the types of goals or objectives you should be setting up to measure the success of your business online. Okay. So there's what is my objective, what question do I need to address, where do I get that information from, what do I do with that information? So let's just go through these. What is my objective? It would be a great idea if you could write down for yourselves at all of these talks, if you take down some notes, as if answering that question, what is your objective? Write down some different notes about this, because if you get your brain thinking about these different things, it'll help you get started. Very important. Okay, so the big thing here, one reasonable question is what is important to track and what's not. So your online objectives should tie in with what your business is trying to achieve. So we cover defining your online objectives in our digital marketing strategy. So if you would like to learn more about this, please do check about the schedule in the description below to see when we're actually running that, okay? So objectives could be tell more people about my business, sell more of my product or service, identify my most valuable customers, or find new ways to engage with previous customers. These are, there's no right or wrong. These are just ideas. Some of these are possible objectives that you might be going for. Okay. What question do I need to address? All right. In order to get the right data, you've got to frame the questions correctly. All right. So we've got over here now, this is something that we use called a REAN. Reach, engage, activate, nurture. All right. It's a REAN framework. So it's a funnel, really, to get all these different things. So your reach is who is my target audience and how do I reach them online? And then engage, are they finding what they need when they go onto your website? Activate, are they booking? Are they clicking on the call to action? Are they making the booking? Are they downloading the PDF? Or are they getting information, further information to contact you or something like that? Nurture, are they coming back? Are they coming back for more? All right. So, okay. So just to recap on that, reach, how did my customers get to my site? Engage, what do they look at and engage with on my site? Activate, did any of my customers complete an action I wanted them to? And nurture, how can I get my customers to come back again? Now, I'm going to be dealing with all of these as well in the context of Google Analytics as well to help you, all right? So reach questions. How are people finding me online? Okay. And for example, what are my target customers searching for? So we've got here an example. I don't know if you remember, we've done this in the previous talks, or we haven't been at a talk before, never mind. There's Pauli's Pizzeria. So to help particularly illustrate these particular questions, these could be the particular things. There's no right or wrong, but these ideas to get you started, to get you thinking about the different things, okay? So that would be the reach questions. Engage questions would be more, what are people engaging with once they find me online? And which of my online communications are people engaging with the most? Because a lot of this you can find out from Google Analytics, which I'll tell you about just now. Activate questions, which channels are driving bookings? And then also, who is my customer? What information can I put together? What can I build a real persona to really get an idea? The more information you can get, the better. Okay. And then nurture questions. Are my customers talking about my business online? And do my customers buy from me again? All right. Okay. We're coming towards the end of the first section. Please, if there are any questions, I know you're no doubt sending masses of questions to Tessa. I can see it's quite busy and everything, so that's wonderful. But it's a great opportunity. Do ask your questions now, especially now, because, of course, Tessa can pass them across and everything. Okay, so let me have a look. Questions. So, Hassan, great. Do these analytics appear in the measuring phase after applying all the strategies and plans we made? Absolutely. I'm going to go through Google Analytics to show you where you can get the metrics, as they call it, the numbers according to the descriptions, and match them all up and everything. So you can get the information and you can see where this one is, you've got the question first, then you're going to go across to the data, and we'll be going step by step, going across from your questions across to Google Analytics and how to find the different information. So don't worry, we'll get onto that. No problem, no other questions. So let us move forward. Let's move forward into the next section, which is, wrong screen. Which tools to use? Okay, now there are many different tools you can use, but let's have a look at the different things here. This is the problem when I touch one screen, the other one goes out. So where do I get that information from? All right. So we're going to take a look at the various tools such as analytics. There's also AdWords, Search Console, and social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, that actually provide the information we need to answer the crucial business questions we went through earlier. Now, don't forget, of course, there's Google Analytics. Now, Google Analytics is basically set up really particularly for your website, to finding out how people are finding you and everything, whether it's through social media, whether they were searching for particular things. There's many different ways that it can be, they can find out how people are finding you. But if you are running everything on Facebook, that's fine. There is also analytics insight, Facebook Insights. You can actually get information from that and get the information. And also every single social media, including, of course, YouTube and Twitter, there is always analytics to give you feedback. And don't forget that as well, YouTube as well has got analytics, and using a lot from Google Analytics is managed to build up quite a strong thing to really help you to get you feedback as well. So all of these things can bring you more and more information and more feedback. Okay, so that's just some of the different tools. So the tools that we can use, so there's social media. There is always analytics that you have there, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. You can also use tools such as Hootsuite, which pulls together your social analytics across different platforms. And you can also check your performance in paid search platforms like Google Ads. Also, Tessa, if you can provide them with a link for Hootsuite, thank you very much. And then there's organic search like Google Search Console. Now, Tessa, if you can give them the link for Google Search Console, that would be fabulous. Sorry, a lot of work to do here, but it's very important to have it. So Google Search Console, as soon as you set up your website on the internet, Google will detect it. It will send its spiders and bots to check out your website to get as much information as possible. And sex paradise. So it'll find out as much as possible. With Google Search Console, what you're actually doing, you're verifying that this is my website, okay? And then what will happen is if there's any problems or whatever with the website, it'll communicate with you. Now, the other thing is, as you know, there's Google search engine. So a lot of people will be entering certain keywords. The point is you've got to connect Google Search Console and Google Analytics, because Google Analytics needs to get all of that information from Google Search Console. They need to be connected. So make sure you've got Google Search Console set up as well. Google Search Console as well as giving you a bit of feedback about your website, any problems or anything, things like, are your images optimized? Is there alternate text for each of your images? That kind of information. which is very, very important. Just to give you an idea what optimize an image is cutting out the wavelengths that us poor Homo sapiens, my apologies to all superheroes, but we can only see certain wavelengths, so it cuts out, if it's from a negative I'm really talking about, and then it also compresses the image. But it's still keeping the same quality. Alternate text is for people who have difficulty with their sight or are blind, and their computer will read out what is on the page, and with the image, of course they can't read out an image, they will read out the alternate text. So normally there's plugins with all these different things. If you've set it up with the different build and everything, there'll be ways of fixing that up. Okay. Don't forget as well, when I finish talking, in this very hot weather I'm trying to survive in, very humid weather. I'm used to hot weather in South Africa, but dry. But the thing with this is you can carry on, you can go back to this talk up to 24 hours after. So you've got the opportunity to go back. If there's anything you miss, but preferably don't do it now, because then you'll miss out on the kind of live chat and everything that you're having now with Tessa. Okay, but don't forget, when it's finished, it's the same URL address. You can just go back up till 24 hours after. Of course, obviously, it's all copyright Google, so, but you have that opportunity to go through it. And if you really miss something, obviously, you can book another session when we're giving the same talk again. All right, so that's Organic Search Console, which is very, very useful. And there's another one called Google Business Profile. Now, a lot of you might think in the context of Google My Business. It used to be called Google My Business, but officially the name is Google Business Profile now. When you search for something, for example, I've got a 2D, 3D and whiteboard animation company. If I was searching my particular area, if I was the only one who did that in my area, it would appear on the right-hand side with the times I'm open, information, pictures, whatever I put into it, address, all that kind of side. So it's really useful with Google Business Profile. If not that, there's many different places which offer the same. It'll be pinpoints, different pinpoints on the map, and you can click on any of those and find out about them. Some of you might be worried about Google Business Profile because right at the beginning it asks you for your address. It asks you for your address. That first address is for Google to communicate with you and verify that this is your website and everything. After that, you'll decide later, make sure you're aware of it when it turns up and everything. Later, you can be saying for the public, where is your region? And if you if you work from home, that's absolutely fine. You can provide a region for the public to see. Okay. All right, so you can track every click made on your own website using Google Analytics. Okay, so let us continue. So social media page insights. All right. So, for example, platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, page insights, where you actually can see how people are engaging with your social media and finding you. Sometimes insights is called, sometimes it's called things like analytics is typically a word which is used. It's a very, very handy tool if you have a Facebook page set up for your business. Now, some businesses don't set up separate websites, so social media might be your main way to actually engage with customers. It is a free tool on all business pages, measures all on-page activity, and gives information about page fans, which is very useful as well. Okay. All right, I know I've discussed this a little bit already, but there's Google Search Console. It is a free product that website owners use to understand how their website is ranking in organic search, okay? And what search terms their site is being ranked for. So it's also integrates with Google Analytics. You have to make sure that it's all integrating correctly so that you can see your Search Console data in Google Analytics. So it's very important you connect those two. So, that is Google Search Console. You can see as well here, let me just enlarge this a little bit for you to see. You can see the number of people who, visitors and everything, how long, and you can see the graphs here and everything, and all the information, the description over there. So that's Google Search Console. You can get started on that. Also, you'll see down here, these are particularly, sorry, this is really small. I'm trying to see what it is actually saying, but I think these are what they were actually searching for. And then you've got over here the actual clicks, and impressions, in other words, that appeared on the page but they didn't click on it. All right. So then there's Google Business Profile. You can manage your online presence across Google Search and Google Maps. The great thing about Google Business Profile is it puts you on the map. Now, as I said, if you're having to verify at the beginning, that's absolutely fine. That's between you and Google. But for the public, make sure that if you don't want to be putting your own personal address, of course, on there, make sure it's a region. Also, be careful with something like Google Business Profile or anything else. If you're providing your mobile number, it's not recommended that you put your mobile number. I mean, I use Google Voice, which is just quite useful. There will be someone answering before, well, it's computer generated, but it'll ask what they're calling about. It'll get transferred across to me as text, and I'll decide whether to take the call or not. So there's things like that or you can have, of course, there's different services for answering the phone and everything. So, Google Search and Google Maps. So here you can see a little bit of the analytics here that they've got, how customers search for your business, all right. Searches over here, and direct and discovery. So you can see the percentages over there, and you can see the typical things over here. So when you see this, that is you on Google Business Profile. Okay, so Google Analytics. Okay, here we're on to the big one. So the big thing here is, of course, understanding what customers do on your website. All right, you can sign up for free. Thank you very much, Tessa. She's provided you with the link for Google Analytics. Generally speaking, it's quite easy with Google's things. It's normally the name, so analytics.google.com, or, so these things are often quite easy to find. You can sign up for free, which is a great opportunity. It's the most popular website analytics tool. You can monitor every click on your site. Now, we'll take a closer look at Google Analytics after I've answered a few more of your many questions, which is fabulous. Yes, I can see them all coming up here. Okay, great. Okay. Whew. All right. Wonderful. Let me just quickly get a bit of water before I get started. Hi, Shamantha. Welcome. Shamantha Gawda. Is SQL essential for data analytics? No, you don't need to know any SQL for data analytics. If you took this further, there is another piece of software which is totally free, Google Data Studio. Now, the point is, if you are reporting to a board, or, there's many people in your company, including the marketing people and everything, it's a good idea, and if you are part of the marketing department particularly, you could take a lot of the information. What is really useful is you can put a lot of the information that you found, you can put it onto your dashboard, the dashboard within Google Analytics, so you can find it very easily, very quickly. The other side is you can use something like Google Data Studio, and you can choose that the source is Google Analytics. You get massive information. Of course, you choose very carefully what you want to include, what you want to plot and everything. And then you can create graphs. You can look, you can do a lot more. We can go much further with it. Okay. But SQL is not essential for data analytics. No, it's not. Okay. Arminal Yahia Sharif. Okay. What is the difference between Google Analytics and Google Ads? Okay, Google Ads is always connected to the advertisements, the ads, the Google ads that you're putting out. So Google Ads, for example, search ads or display ads, which we often talk about in different things, you can track them within Google Ads, okay? Now, you can have as well your ads coming through. I mean, the biggest one is, of course, Google Analytics. Google Analytics will have all of these different things. So you can have Google Ads going through the results and everything going through to Google Analytics as well. But Google Ads is a separate kind of branch, all to do with the advertisements. I hope that helps. Hassan, a programming background needed? No, you don't need any programming background at all. It's the same with building a website. You could use WordPress, you could use Squarespace, you use many different ones, and you don't actually have to know any coding. I mean, of course, I'm a coding specialist, of course I know it, but you don't have to when you're actually building a website. Sometimes if there's issues and that kind of thing, sometimes you might need to look a little bit further into it. To give you an example, Google Search Console will sometimes give you quite technical answers. They'll try and put it as sort of common day English as much as possible, but sometimes it's a little bit technical. But don't forget, you can always just Google search or search on another search engine, and you can find the information, and the explanation could be in a YouTube, could be in a piece of text, whatever you prefer. Okay? So you don't need a program background, no, not at all, Hassan. NG, please, is there any Google information regarding search engine optimization, local keywords, Google Business, and how to relate them on Google Map Manager? Okay, excellent. All right, good question, NG. All right, now I just want to state first and foremost, a lot of people do ask about search engine optimization, and it does sound a little bit like we're avoiding the question, but we're not. We're talking about all the different places which eventually help your search engine optimization. There's things for your website like backlinks. Backlinks are websites which are referring to you, for example. So that's backlinks. If you've got many, if you, for example, got a YouTube channel, if you've got many, you don't have to go for many social media, but if you've got a social media and a lot of people are following it, for example, and you've got, for example, maybe a YouTube video or something like that, and you've got a whole lot of different videos a lot of people are accessing. So all of these things where you're appearing, you could say the digital footprint. I'm not talking about the carbon footprint, I'm talking about the digital footprint, where you're appearing on the internet. The more places that you're appearing, the more it will help with your SEO with these different things. Now, NG, you're talking about SEO local keywords. There's some different things you can use to help you. When you go onto Google Ads, at the top right there is, if it says settings, if you click on settings and you have the drop-down list and you choose to go into expert mode. When you go into expert mode, settings changes to tools and settings. And then at the bottom of the list is Google Keyword Planner. Now, Google Keyword Planner can help you masses. There's another piece of software which Google provides, which you can also use as well. Let me see now. So there's Google Search. So there's that one. There's a Google Search Console. Don't forget, because don't forget you can use all of these different things. And also another one you can use is Google Trends. Now, Google Trends is very useful. It gives you over time when people are searching the highs and the troughs. The danger with it, you've got to be careful you don't get too specific. In other words, too much for what's called a long tail keyword. So it's really very specific. Often Google Trends will go not much for a response. Go for the general feel of what you're looking for, the general sort of generic terms. It will also suggest various keywords you could use as well. So that's just a little bit to help you, NJ. Okay. Kaison, hi. From your experience, there are so many types of data I could get from analytics. Yes, absolutely. How can I make use of different types of data with respect to business performance? Let me help you, Kaison, a little bit later, because in the next section we're going to be dealing with that. All right. We'll be starting with the basics first and everything, covering that. Don't forget, Kaison, if you are in the UK, you can book for a one-to-one and we can discuss. I'm sorry if you're not, because we can't do as much, but I'll try and help you as much as possible. Earning Campus Tamil. Can I use analytics for my Blogspot blog? Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I always think of a blog a little bit like an octopus in this ocean, because each of those tentacles is a blog. So if you do actually have the blog on your website, there's more and more places where people are finding you through that. So, for example, I have a 2D, 3D whiteboard animation company. I was contacted and asked about 2D or 3D. I gave them feedback and I mentioned whiteboard animation. They chose whiteboard animation in the end, and they contacted me again and took on my company. But it was very useful because I could use that question that they'd asked, what is better, 2D or 3D animation? I put 2D or 3D animation for your company. It was the most read blog. So always think, Earning and NG and all the people here in this talk, write down all the questions that people are asking, because that's what they're going to search for often. Well, not definitely, but it's going to help you a lot with the different things. So I hope that helps. Okay, I better move on because I'm starting to not running out of time, but getting a bit short on the time. So use the data from Google Analytics. Let us get started. So we know what we want to ask, or even if you're not totally sure, don't worry, you've got started, you've got the brain starting on these kind of questions. We know where the data is. Now, how do we put all of this information together? We're going to use Google Analytics just as an example. Of course, there's other analytics and everything. But remember to use whichever tool is right for your business. Very, very important. Okay, so what do I do with that information? Now, when I've, as mentor, I've often asked so many different companies, have you got Google Analytics? Yes. Okay. What did you see last week? Oh, it looked good. Okay, great. And then, so what did you do with that info? What did you decide you're going to do from that information? They're like, oh, am I supposed to? And that's the problem. It's that follow through. What you're going to do with that information? What does that inform us? What is success? All these different things. Okay. So Google Analytics dashboard. Now, when you first open up Google Analytics, it can be a bit overwhelming because there's just so much information there. But don't worry. In this section, I'm going to show you where to locate the information to answer some of those business questions to get you started. Let me put it that way. Now, there's another thing I want to introduce you very quickly, and I better speak quickly because I want to put this in as well. At the moment, there are two formats of Google Analytics: Google Analytics version 3 and Google Analytics version 4. Now, halfway through next year, everything's going to be changing across to Google Analytics version 4. So eventually you'll have to get to know about it. One thing which can help you a lot, though, even if you're already on Google Analytics version 4, if there's Google Analytics Academy. Thank you very much, Tessa, providing the link for them. Google Analytics Academy, you can go beginners, intermediate, advanced, and you can just get to know it as best you can. Now, if I'm going to explain this now, if you are on Google Analytics 4, it'll just be some slight differences. You just need to be aware. Okay. If you are setting up Google Analytics now, or from now, or quite recently, often it'll be in Google Analytics version 4. Now, the way you can find out which version you've got, you go into Google Analytics Admin, and in Admin, which is a little cog bottom left, if you've got 3 columns in front of you, you are in Google Analytics version 3. If you've got 2 columns in front of you, you are in Google Analytics version 4. Okay. It's just to be aware where you are at the moment. Now, of course, everything will be changed to Google Analytics 4. Some people might want to go, let me move on to Google Analytics 4. Now, I wouldn't. Just stay where you are at the moment. Get to know what's happening there, and then you can gradually get ready for the transition. But if you're there already, Google Analytics 4, even though you can still use Google Analytics Academy, you know there'll be some slight differences, and it's learning kind of a little bit on both sides. All right. Now, analytics has its own language, so if you don't understand any of the terms, then hover on the question mark beside them for an explanation. Very, very important. So, for instance, you may see the number of visits is different than visitors because one person, visitor, can come back for multiple visits. All right. So, discover who your users are by geographic location. Discover how you acquire them, visits, and when they visit, for example. I'm going to put my magnifying glass over this just so you can have a little bit of a look. This is the actual dashboard as it's stated there. And you can put all the information that you want. There we go. There's all the demographics. You know, this is the times when they went onto the website and everything. There's the different, how do you actually acquire visitors and, you know, the number of people visiting. So there's a lot of information you got there to help you. Now, the point you see of the dashboard is to try and simplify things as much as possible. Now, I'm a musician, I've taught music, and I'm a composer, but in my experience, I've had so many, when I was teaching at a school, that's great you've practiced for 3 hours before this lesson today, but it's even better if you practice 10 minutes. And it's the same thing with Google Analytics. It's a tool. If you can set a smart goal and then work on it like 5-10 minutes every day, it's going to be much better than spending 3 hours, you know, on a Saturday when you don't really want to be working on it or something. But so you just do it regularly and build up maybe your own spreadsheets, you know, whether using Google Sheets, whether using Excel, whatever you're using. But you can, you know, just try to get into the thick of it, as it were, and try to just start using the tool. But don't get too carried away. Just spend a limited time each day just to get you started, get the wheels turning. That's what I recommend. That's my personal recommendation. Okay, so all right, so how to set up a Google Analytics account. So go to analytics.google.com, what Tessa already kindly gave you already. So choose a name for your account, choose an industry category. So of course, normally the name for your account will be your business name, for example. And then choose an industry category, which is sometimes quite difficult because sometimes they're quite far apart, some of the different differences and all this, but I hope that helps you. Okay. where to find, okay, now, I'm going to show you, this is Google Analytics version 3. You go into admin now. Just for all of whatever version you're using, you've got admin. That is admin, that cog down there. So you go into admin. Then over here, you go into one of the columns and it's down as tracking info, tracking code, and then you get this tracking ID. All right. Now, this is a tracking ID that you need to put into the header of all of your pages. All right. So where is it? It's in admin, tracking info, tracking code. Now, if you're in version Google Analytics version 4, remember just 2 columns instead of 3 columns when you're in admin. What you actually have to do is you need to go into data streams, and in data streams you choose your website. You've got many websites or just the one which is there, and then you actually look for measurement ID. So therefore it's admin, data streams, measurement ID, and that's what you'll be putting in the header of all of your different pages. Just for those who are not accustomed to this word header, what do I mean by header? Any web page has got the body, which is the what you typically see on the page. The header is all the information about the metadata and everything, all the information for the different search engines and everything to use. So the header and then there's the footer as well. So there's the header, footer, and the body. So, but there are lots of different plugins you can use for putting that piece into the header. All right. So, once the code actually found, it actually needs to be embedded within every page. This code sits above the head tag, as I was saying there. It's got head with the square brackets. If you think of square brackets, and it's got head, and then it'll have /head. Okay, at the end. So keep in mind that every time a page loads, the tracking code will collect and send updated information about the user's activity. Now, Google Analytics groups this activity onto a period time called a session whenever they're going online. Okay, and checking out your website. All right. How to install the tracking code. All right, so regardless of how you actually build your website, the code needs to be installed on every page of your site. And now I'm repeating myself, but repetition will help you remember. Now, your developer should be able to help you with this. Don't forget your host is there. That's what your host is there for. So ask your host, because when you get a website, you get the domain, you get the builder, and also you get the host who's going to be hosting your site. So they're there to assist you. Now, it doesn't matter if you're building your site using WordPress, Wix, GoDaddy, whatever it is. There normally is a guide to do this on their site. Now, if it's WordPress, for example, either install a plugin, which is nice and simple, or some themes or templates allow you to just enter in the unique tracking ID. All right. Okay, so here we've got one example. In there we've got the Google Analytics and putting it in there. All right. Okay, now let's see now. All right, now we're going to have a look at the different things. Now, to understand the 4 main areas of reporting. Again, I'm going to talk about Google Analytics 3 and Google Analytics 4 just to help you. Now, the typical thing is audience, who are they? Okay, it's always audience is who are they. Acquisition, how did they actually find me? Okay, now so far, Google Analytics 3, Google Analytics 4, the same. Audience, acquisition. Okay, behavior. Now, behavior has been changed now to something a little bit more appropriate, to engagement. So Google Analytics version 4 talks about engagement, which in this context with Google Analytics 3 is the same for Google Analytics 3 as behavior. All right, what are they actually doing when they go onto your website? Okay, all of these things to help you. All right, then there's conversions. Now, conversions in Google Analytics 3 has been changed to Google Analytics 4, which is monetization. And if you're in the UK, it's got the S, monetization. What are they worth to me? Now, I will be showing you all of these different things to help you, all right? So just to run over it again, to remind you, who are my users' audience? How do they find me? Acquisition. What do they do when on my site? Behavior or engagement. Google Analytics 4, engagement. Have they completed the goals I want to track? Conversions, Google Analytics 3, or monetization, Google Analytics version 4. All right. So for conversions to work, goals have to be set up to track specific actions. Now, once you've mastered the basics, this is really worth doing. Now, Google will then use that data and show you a series of different reports. All right. Now, data in Google Analytics. Let's have a look at these different sides. Okay. Now, what is really important? So in Google Analytics, everything is laid out in tables. Now, while this is Google Analytics specific, most of the products we have discussed lay out data in a similar way. Now, the first column, which you can see at the moment in green, is what is called dimension. All right. Okay, a dimension is an attribute of the customer's website visit. So, for example, if we find, which, what questions, it's a dimension. So some examples include device, city, age, gender. We've got over here organic search, referral, direct, paid search, social, affiliates, display, for example. A metric is a measurement or count of something. It's a figure, as it were. For example, if we find ourselves asking a how many question, and here we go. So here we've got the users. Now you'll see as well there's an arrow. They've chosen for users the number of users to be, so it's all organized where the highest to the lowest of this column. You can choose another column if you want. And here we've got new users and here we've got sessions. So you can choose any of these columns from the highest to the lowest for the organizing of them. Okay. All right. Now, so using Rian to ask the right questions. Now we're going to run through the Rian questions we've covered earlier in the session and map this to where we can find the information in Google Analytics to find answers. Here we go. All right. So let's have a look at this. So how are people finding me online with the reach here? So you go into Google Analytics. In fact, let me just highlight this a little bit, magnify it a bit. You can see that over there, so I'm not going to, but I'm going to help you here. So you go into Google Analytics, you go into acquisition, you can see the heading there, acquisition. Then you go into all traffic, and you see they've got a little arrow pointing down to the left. And within all traffic, channels report. And here we've got, what's at the top? Anyone? Anyone reply that one? What's at the top? I've got the chat. I can see if anyone responds. What is at the top? So don't worry about copying it there, Tess. Anyone? What is at the top? Maybe it's just because my screen's a little bit further. Let's see if I can... No, I don't think there's anyone's replied that one. What's right at the top, people? Yes, thank you very much, Bilal. Congratulations. So Mia as well, and Erfan and Shamantha. Oh no, not Shamantha, but never mind. That was a good idea. But actually, his organic search is correct. Well done, NJ, Hassan, Shamantha. Absolutely, yes. And Mohammed. Customers directly engaged. Not actually directly engaged. That's third here on the list. So it's really nice. Now, let me just point out, it's really nice when you get organic search at the top. It is quite hard to get to the top with organic search. It can take time. And that's why often Google, Google Ads or social media ads or whatever it might be, things like Google Business Profile and all these different things can help you further without, because organic search can take a long time to get high up. Okay. All right. So now, as the question is about how people find us, so go through all these different things. Now, organic search sends us the highest number of visitors with referrals coming in second. Okay, so referrals is the second one. If you click on the link in blue, it will actually take you into the next level of data. Don't forget, with these ones over here, you can click on that. It'll give you further information about organic search or referral, whatever you've chosen. So you can go into further and further pieces of information, which is really useful. There's also things like you can choose things up here, secondary dimension, spot type default. Okay, there's also things like the time. I don't think we can see it on the screen, but there's things like time period and all sorts of other things. But let me not get too complicated. Okay. All right, so if you click on the link in blue, it will take you to a deeper level of information. So for the organic search, we could see which terms we're actually being found for. This is a big thing, which is so useful. Now, if we're doing a lot of posting on social media with the intention to drive traffic to the website, then we can track it arriving from there, actually. And then referrals are other websites that send traffic our way. We could investigate them and see whether we can strengthen our relationship with them. Now, if there are some referral sites that aren't doing so well, how can we work together to drive more traffic? Just as some ideas to help you. All right. Okay, so what are people engaging with when they find me online? Okay, so here now with the engagement. All right, what are people engaging with when they find me online? All right, let's have a look at a couple of different things here. You go on to Google Analytics, you go into behavior, site content, all pages. All right, let me just repeat that. So we go on to Google Analytics, we go into behavior. Now, as you remember, with Google Analytics version 4, that's called engagement. All right, then you go into all pages. All right, and then you've got the information. Now, a lot of the different sub files as well will be slightly different in Google Analytics 4. I can't cover everything in this short time, but do check up. So long as you know what version you've got running, there's a lot you can help you there. All right. Now, note the primary dimension over here. The actual is page, and here we've actually got the metric page. So you can see here. Sorry, just changing you got the home page. That's a typical one where the home page is right at the top, okay? Now, it tells us which page users come across and navigate to when they are actually on your website. You know, we can tell from the metrics and the columns running left to right how engaged users are with the various pages. This is an important thing as well, because you can see how long average time on the page, which is so helpful. Now, for example, if they spend ages on the payment page, are the issues with the payment. So what can we do with this information? Now, by learning which of our pages our visitors spend their time and which they leave quickly, we can understand what they like in order to actually create more interesting content for them. Now, if we've got a video on a page and people hang around on that page for longer than it takes to, play, that maybe they're actually finding it interesting. If they all leave partway through, what is actually putting them off? What point do they leave? If we get lots of traffic to a page but a high bounce rate, then we need to check if we're actually showing them what they need to see when we actually get them. And we can also see if any of our processes need reviewing. Lots of, abandoned baskets might tell us there is a problem with the checkout. Okay. Then activate. So activate is all about getting people to take the action we want them to take, of course. And it could be as easy as to understand as a scale. If we don't sell online, it could be ringing us up in order to book, downloading a white page or a PDF, or filling in the contact us form, for example. Okay, so which channel is driving the most booking? So this is how you find out. So it's acquisition, all right, all traffic, channels. And for both it's acquisition, all traffic, and then channels. All right. So all traffic is a little bit blocked out there, but it's that one. So it's a subfolder there. And you can see referrals at the top, then direct, then paid search, then affiliates, organic search, social, and then so it gives you a lot of information there to really help you. And of course it gives you actual metrics over here as well. And the big thing is you've set goals. Now, really to be able to use it for conversions, you really need to have set goals. So often when they've bought something, you could be putting a piece of code there so they can track that, for example. So, all right. So what can we do with this information? So just a couple of different things, identify which referring sites drive conversions. For referring sites bringing good quality traffic, can we develop a partnership? And looking out for underperforming websites. Am I in the right? Yes. So that's just some of the different ideas. Then on to nurture. Are my customers happy to leave a review? Now, nurture is about what happens after we've activated the relationship. Do they leave a review somewhere, book again, or something like that? Now, with this one, you go into, you'll see over here, conversions. Do you remember what it is here? Monetization with Google Analytics version 4, e-commerce, and then it's checkout behavior, so customer reports, conversions, e-commerce, customer reports. All right. So, and here at the moment we're looking at checkout behavior and everything and the information there. All right. So, as well as monitoring reviews, of course, Google Business Profile and also Facebook, answer this question. So the website has set up the key points of their sales funnel as a series of goals so they can track them in Google Analytics. And then, of course, the follow through. And of course, you need to set a lot of these things up to be running with Google Analytics and working. And of course, the big thing is getting genuine feedback from people we know have bought our products, respond to all reviews, good and bad. That's very important. We have got one for writing for social media. I recommend we deal with that a little bit. To be proactive with the negative ones, and try to take it off the public arena, as it were, provide an email so they can send that to you. And then try different ways to encourage purchasers to leave a review. What works best, do more of that. Is it maybe providing a discount, or is it, providing whatever it might be to help people? Because I don't know about you, but I'm not very keen to often fill in a survey or do a review. So if you can make it simple, quick, or easy, or something like that to help people follow through on it. All right. Okay, questions in this dire heat. Let's see now what further questions we've got here. So what is the difference between Google Search Console and Google Analytics? Now, don't forget that all different Google, Halima, yes. Don't forget, Halima, that all of the different apps, Google apps, they all work together often, and sometimes you need to connect them so they work together and get the information one to the other and all the rest. But generally speaking, so Google Search Console provides certain information. Do you remember Google Search Console provides a lot of feedback on what they were searching for in the search engine, which is so important. What are the keywords? You've got to make sure that it's connecting up to your Google Analytics, and then of course you can read that information within Google Analytics. They all overlap slightly. But Google Search Console, first and foremost, is to give you feedback on your website. If there's any issues, any problems, like the images are not optimized, there's no alternate text, things like that, just to give you two examples. And then, so it provides you a little bit of that, and it gives you a little bit of feedback on how people are finding your website, particularly with what search, what keywords they used. Google Analytics, as we've covered, covers masses of different information, but they work together. All right. Okay, so can we, so Shamantha, can we get the data in Excel or sheet format from Google Analytics? The way that you can do it is you can actually, I'm pretty sure you can actually export within a, as a Google Sheet, or for example, or as an Excel sheet, but I'm not totally sure on that, to tell you the honest truth, but I'm pretty sure you can. But another way you can do it is Google Data Studio. You can import all the information from there, and then that you can put in whatever format you like and export it, and you can have it in that format. I hope that helps you, Shamantha. Shamantha, is Google Analytics 4 more advanced? Good question, Google Analytics version 3. Of course, it is the latest version, but there are some changes and everything. And there's particular reasons they built the fourth version. Of course, obviously, there's quite a lot of grumblings about the change because we don't like change. But there are obviously many different reasons that it's been built, and for setting up more towards mobile and all sorts of different things like that. But I won't go too deeply. But it's going to be a little bit more advanced, but it is a change, quite a lot of change, so you need to get used to that over time. All right. Okay, we've got 10 minutes left. No, we've got 7 minutes left. So what are your next steps? All right, so there's a lot to take away. In fact, actually, no, we're actually on the end. So what are your next steps so that we're doing fine on time? Let me see now. If there's any further questions, do fire away. I can see all the results here, so if there are any questions, do pass them my way, Tessa. But there is masses to take away. It's just try and get sort of step by step, so you're not overwhelming yourself with all the different things. At least write down 3 things you're going to do, having had this session, just to get you started. Because often people, there's just so many things, they're going to look over them and they never do. But if you think just 3 most important things, at least it'll get you started. Okay, And also, people, don't forget, this is free one-to-one mentoring available from Google now. At the moment, if you work for a small business or charity in the United Kingdom, and when we say work for, if you own your own small business, of course, it's the same for you, a great opportunity. So sign up for Google Mentoring at g.co/UK mentoring. Thank you very much, Tessa, for that link again. Great opportunity. We're here to help you as much as possible. We're all from different walks of life and different specializations and everything, but we will do our best to assist you. And it's very important whilst you're developing a company, especially when you're on your own or there's only a few people who are taking part in it, it's very helpful to be able to communicate with someone and, find out our particular knowledge that we know from having run our own companies and all the rest. Okay, so that's a great opportunity. Unfortunately, it's only in the UK. Hopefully, eventually, this will expand. I certainly hope so. All right. So I want to finally say thank you. I want everyone, thank you all for your questions, wonderful questions, a lot of great questions there. We are going to wrap up here as we are out of time. I hope there's been a really useful dive into answering questions with data, particularly today. As I mentioned at the beginning of the session, if you're interested in more training from Google Digital Garage, there are a few ways you can continue learning. We are running many more Google Digital Garage webinars in different subjects. If you would like to check out the schedule of webinars, please see information on this in the description below. There'll be different topics available to watch, and we will be updating the schedule regularly. Also, if you would like to carry on learning online in your own time, check out the Google Digital Garage website for more online training courses which are available to you 24/7. Tessa, if you can provide them the link for that. One which we recommend for the Google Digital Garage online training is Fundamentals of Digital Marketing. It's taken by Gori and Sarah, and it's really good. It covers all the different things, and it's done in true Googly style. It's to try and simplify everything, but it covers a lot of different things. It is quite long in videos. It's 20 hours in videos, but the point is you can do it in your own time. It's not a 20-hour video. No, of course, there's many different little videos that you go through whilst you're learning all these different sides. But it's to try and help you so you know more about the digital side, the digital marketing, and all that kind of side. Okay. And also, Tessa, thank you so much. It's been great. Thank you everyone for all these different questions. It's been really wonderful, really good. Also, if you would like any feedback or questions on today's session, please do contact us via the email address team@thedigitalgarage.co.uk, or even better, if you can give some feedback now directly in the chat, that's really nice. And the other thing we're doing now is we're doing quite a lot of face-to-face. We're going out to different places in the United Kingdom, and we're giving talks there and everything, which is great. So hopefully, if we appear in your area, you might see us in person. So it'll be really nice. So I want to thank everyone for joining today. And we really do look forward to welcome you again to another Google Digital Garage training session soon. Thank you.